Okay, 8th graders, we're ready to move on to a different type of equation. And these equations involve absolute value. So remember that absolute value refers to how far something is from 0. Okay? It's talking about a distance. And that's why absolute value is always a positive amount. Alright? The absolute value of x is 3. 3 spaces, you can think of that as being 3 spaces. 3 spaces from 0 on a number line, right? So, x could be 3, because 3 is 3 spaces from 0. And x could be negative 3, because negative 3 is 3 spaces from 0. Okay? So when you're solving an equation where the absolute value, where you're finding the absolute value of x, you have to solve it so that the variable is inside the absolute value by itself, or this amount is by itself. Once you know what this amount is, then you could say that it is either positive 6 or negative 6 in this case. It's a positive amount or a negative amount. Okay? So, you want to find or you want to isolate what's in the absolute value and then solve it for the positive and negative solutions. Let's look at this case. This one's already solved for the absolute value amount. Okay? There's nothing outside the absolute value bars. And so you're going to solve 2 equations. You're going to solve this one. 2x plus 5 could equal 11. Or 2x plus 5 could equal negative 11. And those are 2 different answers then. X could be 3 or x could be negative 8. Okay? Does that make sense? No, if it's negative, you don't make it positive. The key is to come up with these equations. That's what the objective of this is, to come up with these 2, you gotta find these 2 equations. Okay? Because once you have these 2 equations, you know how to solve these. You know how to get there from here. Okay? How do you get to this point when you're given this? If you're given this, how do you get these? These equations. No, you have to write it with positive 11 or with negative 11. Okay.
What if it's negative? Can you change it to positive?
No.
The equation's positive. Can you keep the equation positive?
You solve one of them with a positive, and then you solve the other one with a negative amount. All right? Yes? No, let's do some practice problems. Okay? So go to page, go to lesson 4.6 in your book.
You stole my book.
You're not on the right.
235.
Help me, you opened up to that page.
All right, 235, 237. Let's start with 237. Okay? Whoa. We don't want that. We want this. All right? So, we're starting out with just the concept of finding the absolute value of what could be. This is a B. What could B be?
BB done.
B equals 2 or negative.
2 or negative 2. Simple as that. Okay? Number 2. 4 equals the absolute value of y. Right. So y equals positive 4 or negative 4.
say 4 is equal to y or negative y? 4 is equal to y or negative y? Is that possible?
How about 3? No, not negative y, because 4 is y. Okay?
Yeah, 4 is y, and if 4 could be
Or negative 4.
4, then could y be negative 4?
Yes, y could be negative 4 or 4.
So could you put y equals y or negative y?
That's what we're doing, but with numbers. We're using numbers because they give you a value here.
Like it's like a yes or no question. So it's like could you put that down as
No.
an answer?
You have to put what the given value is. Since they give you what the absolute value of y has to be 4, then you have to give these as number answers, as numerical solutions. Okay?
That doesn't answer my question, but I'm not gonna understand it.
Okay. I guess I'm not understanding your question.
Yeah, people often don't.
W equals the absolute value of 1/2. I'm sorry, the absolute value of W equals 1/2. Wrote that wrong.
Wait, could you do that though? W equals the value of 1/2. So would that just be
1/2.
number?
Right. Yep. But what if the absolute value of W is 1/2? Then W is,
1/2 or negative
right?
1. It's all the same.
Yep, so you get the pattern here, right?
It's not what
It is a pattern. Yep. Because the absolute value of the variable
unless you say like 2.
inside the absolute value bars can be positive or negative. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so write those down.
That's 1/3.
Number 4, the absolute value of n plus 2 is equal to 8.
Okay.
So we have to get this by itself.
And it is equal to 6 over 6.
We have to get this by itself first. So add negative 2 so that the absolute value of n is all by itself on one side. And then we know what the value is. N is 6 or negative 6. Okay? You got those down? Let's move to number 7. Number 7. 4 times the absolute value of D is equal to 20. So, since this is outside of the bars, it means multiplication. How do you undo multiplication?
Division.
Division. Great. Divide this, or multiply it by 1/4. Divide it by 4. So that the absolute value of D is by itself. And divide it by 4. D is 5. So D is 5 or negative 5.
So the answer to all of the problems is x equals
Yep,
this,
it's
this, and 4 negative.
right, right.
So I
Yep.
have to add a word. Mr.
Right.
Monsky,
But first you have to get this by itself.
if D were negative 5, if there, like, meaning if there were a possibility 4 times that D in this case with a negative 5. Wouldn't that equal negative? Oh, right.
Excuse me.
I got messed up.
So, since this is inside, if negative 5 is inside the absolute value bars, it makes this positive. So then it's positive 5 times 4. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just messed up.
That's okay. It's a concept you have to think about a little bit. It's a concept that is really abstract as well. It does make you think. Well, let's see, this, what does this exactly mean? All right? It's not easy. It takes practice. It takes practice reading these and working with these in order to get them right. Okay? Let's go to this type then. Number 13. Or let's do number 14. Yeah, number 13. We only going to do number 14. R minus 8. The absolute value of R minus 8 equals 5. Absolute value of R minus 8 equals 5. What does that mean?
Well,
First, let's figure out what this really means.
okay.
It means that what's inside of this could equal positive 5, or it could be negative 5. So we have to solve two equations. Okay? So what's the first equation we need to solve? R minus 8 is positive 5, and R minus 8 equals negative 5.
Miss Monsky. If it were to equal 5 or negative 5, shouldn't 5 be in the, like, keep forgetting what it's called.
The absolute value?
Yeah, absolute value.
Well, one way to think of this, and this might help you, Isaac, maybe it won't, but if you think of this as a number, okay, let's say that this equals n. All right, the R minus 8 is a number, right? Isaac? If that equals n, then the absolute value of n is either 5 or negative 5. So instead of using n, we're going to use R minus 8. It's the same thing we did previously, but now instead of just one number being inside the absolute value bars, we have two numbers in there. So ignore n, because that's just another way of thinking about it. And solve these two equations for R. So add 8,
So now
and R equals 13, or add 8, and R equals 3. Okay? Excuse me.
Thank you.
So, that's what we're going to do for tomorrow. We're going to work on just finding these simple absolute value solutions.